So the Canon C70 is Canon's first ever RF mounted ND packing 4K at up to 120 frames per second shooting cinema camera. And this thing is in a very small, tight, compact little body. And so I decided to do what I typically do when I'm reviewing cameras, is to go out and shoot with it and see what I can create. And honestly, I almost ruined this entire review. What's good, creative fam? Brandon Washington here, and when I go out and film with cameras, I try to do my absolute best to familiarize myself with the camera before I go out and film with it. This way that I can come back and have excellent footage, but also know exactly what the camera is capable of doing. Now, the C70 is a very special and unique type of a camera. It is kind of like the best of both worlds. It's kind of the best of the cinema line of Canon's design, where it has all of the buttons on it, it has all the video related features and everything that you need for a cinema camera built into it, but it's also got all of the amazing features of a lot of the mirrorless and DSLR cameras, with the ability to have a small, tight, compact body and something that's designed to be used handheld, and it has a nice grip, and it really feels like you're working with just a larger DSLR. And this was my experience going out and filming with it. However, something immediately happened on accident that almost ruined the entire shoot. See, while I was out filming with it, I was kind of finagling the camera and getting everything working properly and getting everything ready to shoot, and I set my camera to be able to shoot in C-Log 2. And when I did this, I noticed that my image started to look a little off. Now, I've shot log a lot, and I'm pretty used to the, the look of log. It's typically desaturated, doesn't look that great. Everything's kind of muted overall, but I looked at the log footage and thought, man, this looks a little weird, but I couldn't really put my finger on why it looked so off. So I decided to go into the menu systems to figure out if there was a way to turn on the LUT to make it easier for me to see what was going on. And when I did that, I noticed that my image just looked awful. I mean, like the worst footage I've ever seen on the back of a camera. And I figured to myself, this must just be the LUT. Like, there's no way when I'm recording to this sensor right now looks this bad. Trust me, spoiler alert, it really did. Because what I didn't realize was that when I was kind of messing with the camera, I had accidentally tapped one of the white balance buttons and actually set my white balance to be a consistent white balance. But more importantly, I had accidentally somehow set it to having a plus 50 green tint. Now, if you don't know what plus 50 green tint looks like, this is what it looks like. It makes the entire footage look completely hulked out. And honestly, because this camera is missing only one really big important feature, in my opinion, which is the ability to record RAW, I thought this footage was going to be completely unsalvageable. I was pretty distraught when I got home and actually started looking at the footage, and I realized the mistake that I had made, because this was going to be an awesome little cinematic sequence that I was going to be able to show you guys here on the channel to show what this camera is capable of. But something actually really interesting happened. See, this camera does not shoot RAW. However, this camera has some really strong codecs. This camera shoots in 422 10-bit internally. So what this meant was that I actually had a lot of that color information, and I found that I was in fact able to pull back my white balance and fix my tint and have usable footage. See, a lot of that footage that you guys saw in that opening sequence was all originally the hulked out footage. This camera was, really surprising was able to bring back a lot of that detail and gave me something that was usable, especially when it's not shooting in RAW. You know, clearly this was just my first time going out and filming with this camera, and just like any camera, there are tons of learning curves, and trust me, I plan on doing a full review on this camera in the very near future. But I just wanted to share with you guys how insane that this camera was actually able to give me back a lot of the footage that I pretty much had washed off and thought was pretty much done, and I was able to retrieve that footage and use it. So if you guys are looking at the C70 and maybe you're afraid because this camera doesn't have RAW, and at that price point, other cameras like the Red Komodo and the Blackmagic 6Ks and 4Ks, they are offering RAW, and this one doesn't even offer RAW externally. If that's something that maybe you're a little weary about, or maybe it's making you second guess it, I strongly recommend you guys just trust me. This camera does a phenomenal job even without RAW. You know, even though I just purchased a Red Komodo 6K, the C70 is definitely a camera that I am really interested in. I would love to know what you guys want to know more about with this camera. Like I said, I have future videos coming out on this camera, so don't worry, I'll be able to answer those questions in the future, but you can also leave those questions down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you thought it was helpful, definitely give it a big thumbs up. If you're excited about the C70 and you don't want to miss any other content about it, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.